Early access to the Modern Warfare 3 campaign came out the other day, and guys, what is this? Like, genuinely, what is this? Are you pulling a joke on me? Is this some kind of tomfoolery to say gotcha? It's a little late for an April Fool's joke, because I refuse to believe that 13 people worked on writing this script. It's just not possible that this passed by 13 human adult minds that said, yeah, that works, that's good enough. Activision must have said to Sledgehammer a few months ago, yeah, we need a new Call of Duty campaign. Can you get that for us? You have 6 months. And like any self-respecting person who has to write something in a crunch, they went to ChatGPT, because this is literally written by nobody. In both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 2019, there's a section in the credits that says written by, and then it has the people who wrote the script. And then it also has a narrative section where it shows, I guess, people who proofread it or something. And that's the only thing the Modern Warfare 3 credits have, is just a narrative section. There is no written by. So I suppose ChatGPT really did just spit this John out, and these 13 people in the narrative team skimmed through it and said, sure, that'll be fine. Let's do that. They said, write me a sequel to the Modern Warfare 2 reboot that is 3 to 4 hours long. Enter. So congrats to ChatGPT for successfully writing its first video game story that we know of. Big props to you. I'm sure we'll be seeing you more in the future. Though before I go into why the story is not great, we'll go over the gameplay first. There isn't much to say about it because there's not much gameplay in it. A lot of people are saying that it's too short, and I would agree, but you also have to take into account that MW 2019 and MW2 2022 are both 3.5 to 4 hours long. So it's kind of just the status quo, if anything. I would agree they should be longer, but as long as it's good, like MW 2019's campaign, it doesn't matter if it's short. But again, not even getting into the actual story problems yet, this shit is gobsmackingly terrible. There are 15 missions in the game, and I say missions with quotation marks because there's really only 3 to 4 actual missions. Most of the other missions consist of what's called a weapons-free mission. The best way to explain it, and the most honest way to explain it, is they said, here's a section of the new Urzikstan map, and here's a section of Verdansk. Now do a Warzone contract, and that's the mission. I mean, I think most reasonable people understand that Modern Warfare 3 is really Modern Warfare 2.5, if even that. And some of us, like myself, are okay with that. I know I'm paying $70 for a half-assed DLC. I mean, it's literally not even its own game. On PlayStation, Modern Warfare 3 is under the DLC tab for Modern Warfare 2. No, guys, we're wrong. It's not a DLC. But this is just like beyond pathetic and so little effort. It's more embarrassing than the time I took my friend's paper, wrote my name on it, and submitted it. At least in that case, nobody noticed, and we both got credit for it. This, everybody notices. The only people who don't notice are the people who are so far up Xbox's ass that they can't see past Phil Spencer's colon. I mean, besides just the constant infestation of Warzone into every single other mode, even if this was just a new thing, like Warzone didn't exist, multiplayer was still the focus, and this was the type of missions we got, it would still suck. Obviously, it's stupid they reuse all these assets and can't create something new for once, but again, that's still not even the problem, I feel like. It's that these missions are created in such a flawed way that you can't help but be smacked in the face with how low effort they are. Because there are actual original environments, at least I think. We haven't played the new map yet. There's a private island you go on, which is actually a cool environment. But the problem is, it's a weapons-free mission. So you essentially just walk around the island doing whatever the fuck you want. Then you go to the actual objective and then the mission ends. There is no substance to the mission. There are no big bombastic set pieces or scripted events. It's literally you go, you do this thing, you get some dialogue, cutscene. It also misjudges what people do in Call of Duty campaigns. Most of the time, people play through them once, that's it. Maybe they really liked it, they played it again. Or maybe some years later, they play it another time. But most of the time, people play it, they uninstall it after. Especially because you're not rewarded for doing anything in the campaign. The only time you were rewarded for doing something in the campaign was in Black Ops 3, which was a shame because Black Ops 3's campaign was awful. It gives you the option to pick a loadout and choose how you want to approach a mission, but the only way you can do that is by playing the mission and unlocking these crates crates that will get you stuff like silenced weapons. For example, there was the mission on the Verdansk Dam. I wanted to try to do it stealthily just because I like doing stealthy stuff. The only suppressed weapon is a suppressed pistol. That's it. You have to go around and find other suppressed weapons in weapon crates while doing the mission, which essentially negates the point of even giving people other playstyles. Because by that point, you're probably already not doing stealth. Or you can run around, find the crate, and then restart the checkpoint or die. But like, who wants to do that? They try to set you up with replayability, but the missions are not interesting enough or long enough that you would want to tackle it in a different way. You don't get anything out of it from doing it a different way. And you also don't even get the choice to do it a different way unless for some reason you wanted to restart the mission. It almost feels like they tried to do something like Black Ops 2 where you could pick your loadout before you do the mission. But again, the problem is nobody's gonna want to replay it because the missions, you get nothing from it and the story's trash. I mean, Call of Duty has always had a problem with rewarding people for things other than multiplayer or Warzone, honestly. But campaigns, you play it once, you get the rewards, that's it. Unless you really liked the story, there's no other reason to play it most of the time. Though if for some reason you did convince yourself to like the story because of a sunk cost fallacy, it would be better to watch all of the cutscenes in order because at least you'd be saving 5 minutes of nothingness in between the cutscenes. The open fire missions, like I said, are short as hell. They take like 5 minutes to complete because you can just run to the objective, complete it in half a second, and the mission's done. And honestly, even if you take your time, it doesn't take that much longer. The 3 to 4 actual campaign missions are somehow even shorter than the open fire missions. There was a specific mission, which honestly I don't even remember the name, nor do I care enough to go back and look, but it was so short I had no idea I was on a different mission until I pressed pause and it said it had a different mission name. It is taking me longer to read this sentence that I wrote in my script than it did to finish that mission. I mean, we know COD campaigns and COD missions, they're not that long, and honestly that's not that big a deal, but the problem is that this is just pathetically short with nothing good in between. It is the perfect definition of a nothing burger. From its gameplay to its story, there is nothing of substance in here. And honestly, the buns aren't that good either. They're not even like the good brioche roll buns. They're like some flat McDonald's buns that you'd find in the trash can outside. I'm not even comparing this to other games like Spider-Man, Alan Wake, or whatever, because let's be honest, you can't. Like, this is like, you compare it to maybe a Battlefield campaign. But even comparing this to other COD campaigns, they're not even close. I had literally no idea the game ended when the credits started rolling. When the cutscene with Soap's ashes played and it went right to the credits, I was utterly gobsmacked. I sat there in my own fart-filled gaming chair staring at the screen like a toddler watching Cocomelon. I could barely comprehend what the hell just happened. After my short lapse of this corporeal realm, I was brought back by my own laughter because the only thing I could do was laugh at how absurd of an ending it was, which I don't even think you could call it an ending. They forgot to put an ending in here. It doesn't exist. It's not bookended. It's not even a cliffhanger. It's we stop halfway through and they said that's good enough. It's worse than where Dune Part 1 chose to stop. Soap just gets jessied by Makarov. He runs away and that's it. Guess you gotta wait for next game. Honestly though, who even wants a next game at this point? At least for the campaign. Because nobody wants another chat GPT piece of shit like this. Nothing happens in this story except for the very last few moments and the post-credit scene. At the very beginning, Makarov is broken out of prison and he does nothing the whole game. He tries to do a bunch of stuff, but it all gets foiled. He's an evil doer where the heroes always beat him. He's almost as embarrassing as the Lich from Adventure Time at this point. This game makes him look like a joke of a villain. The only thing he manages to do is successfully blow up a plane and use chemical weapons on a Russian base, which are bad, but like when your win-loss is like a 98% loss and a 2% win, that's pretty bad. And also your wins aren't even wins, because the whole point of blowing up the plane and bombing the base was to blame it on Urzikstan for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter because Farah pulled the cell phone data from the crash site of the plane because I guess Makarov forgot, after being in jail for 4 years, I guess he forgot their cell phones that can record and live stream things. So because of this, Farah is able to clear Urzikstan's name, so his win turned into a stinky, poopy loss again. So goes down to 99% loss because all he did was just kill Russian people for no reason at that point. And again, the gas attack. He ends up just killing Russian people for no reason because people like Laswell and Yuri probably went and told them that no, it wasn't an Urzikstan attack. It was Coney that did it. The whole campaign is spent being right behind Makarov, but so right behind him that we stop him at this point essentially 100% of the time because his goals are nullified right after they happen. His whole thing is to run a misinformation campaign with false flag operations, and seeing as how all the false flags get called out, he's essentially 0 for however many times he tried. So like 100% of the time, we stop him. I mean, compared to the OG Makarov, this one is a goofy goober. He fails at, like I said, everything he does, and what he accomplishes, it doesn't matter again because it's nullified with the truth coming out right after that. The no Russian mission in this game is just embarrassing. His plan is so beyond stupid, he looks dumber than a caveman trying to use the radio. So let me get this straight. His plan was to blow up a plane, and again, for some reason, stage it as Urzikstan, because I guess this nothing country is so meaningful to him because Farah killed Barkov, I guess, and he was like, not my Barkov! So obviously the smartest thing to do is to have your leader, who everybody knows is the leader of Coney, and a terrorist. You have him go through airport security like normal, so they have him on record being there with cameras, and even if he did use a fake ID, you could show that it was a fake ID. He gets on a plane that's going to blow up. Why? Why? Why did you need to be there? Why? And he forgot that you can recover cell phone data, and that people have cameras on their phones, and these cameras can also live stream things. And there's free Wi-Fi on the plane, especially international flights, which this was. Like, literally, all he needed to do was have some people that look like Urzikstanians and have them blow up the plane. But for some reason, this mushhead, smooth-brained dimwit had to get on the plane himself and say, hey guys, by the way, I'm the guy blowing up the plane, and we're gonna blame it on Urzikstan. Nobody'll ever know, because there's nothing called a recording device. I mean, not only did they show themselves on the plane, it's also very obvious that the girl, I think Samara was her name, was not involved in this whatsoever. You can even have it where she kills some of the other hijackers. I'm sorry, why would you trust such a sensitive plan to a rando person that is not going to support you at all? He left an unbelievable amount of breadcrumbs behind, and honestly, they're not even goddamn breadcrumbs, they're just full loaves. His whole goal was misinformation and a false flag. His whole goal was to make people believe that Urzikstan, again, for whatever reason Urzikstan, were the bad guys randomly attacking Russian military and Russian civilians, which is a deviously evil plan if you want to start a war and have it seem justified to the West or even other countries. But why the fuck would you bring yourself and other people in Coney who are known Russian nationalists with you onto the plane when all you needed to do was have people go and do it, and then there'd be no evidence connecting you guys? It would seem much more legit, but you said, no, I have to be there, and I also have to use my clearly Russian accent to let everybody know that I am Russian, and this was not led by Urzikstanians. I don't know. I have to think Makarov set all this up. He felt real good. He was like, yes, I did it. I'm back. I did this evildoer deed. And as he's falling out of the plane, which I mean is just another ridiculous thing. Like, do you think you're fucking DB Cooper jumping out of the plane after you do some evil deeds on the plane? Like, what? But I have to imagine as he's falling out of the plane, he's thinking, damn, I forgot about cell phones. I know they existed heavily before I went into jail, but damn, I didn't even think of that. Part of what made the original No Russian work is that it was in a different time. In 2009, the internet, security, and social media were not like they are now. In 2023, you can't have some tragic event not end up on the internet somewhere. But in 2009, stuff like being a full-time YouTuber wasn't even in the realm of possibilities. So the idea that this would become a highly studied thing on the internet or a Facebook Live horror story wasn't even a thought. But obviously in 2023, these things happen all the time. Whenever there's something terrible that happens, it's always on the internet, and people are pretty quick to find it and make video video essays about it. But let's say even if they did record it and it happened at the same time, the difference is also in Makarov and his plan. In the original, barely anyone knew who Makarov was. He was like a nobody. He was off the grid. The only people who knew him were Price and Shepard, which is why he sent Alan to infiltrate Coney in the first place. We didn't even figure out until Modern Warfare 3 that he was behind every giant event in the games. Like, this Makarov he's a demon. He's a devil. He's capable of so much evil. And part of why he was so good at that was because he was so unknown. He was able to keep himself off grid and away from prying eyes. The one time he showed up was to do the No Russian mission, and his plan made sense. Even if they were caught on CCTVs, nobody really knew who these people were. It was 4 random white dudes, and they all had American guns and American accents. And then at the very end, they kill a CIA agent, leaving his body as evidence to make it look like America did it, and to show that the CIA was involved with it. Even if they did find out that it was a Russian ultra-nationalist terror group that did it, it would still not matter that much because the CIA was involved in it. They helped knowingly murder hundreds of people in the Zakhaev airport, which caused World War III. So this is a plan that pretty much every way you look at it, it's gonna go Makarov's way. It's so much more conniving and tactical than the 2023 version. But then again, there's this question of why Urzikstan? I guess he had beef with Farah for some reason. The only thing I can think of is because he killed Barkov, and I guess that embarrassed Russia because they could defend themselves. But as far as I know, Urzikstan is a pretty nothing country. It has nothing that holds any massive strategic importance. The point of blaming the US and the CIA on the attack on the airport in the original was to start World War III with the US, get Russia to invade the US, and reestablish Russian dominance. At most, the 2023 version of this would start a war with Urzikstan and then a proxy war with the US. I mean, I'm definitely going too deep into this Call of Duty campaign. All I can say about it is this John's stupid. As for the rest of the campaign though, Shepard somehow gets captured, even though he was in a secret location not even Laswell or 141 could find, but okay. And he was protected by Shadow Company. Again, okay, I guess. I said this when I reviewed the MW2 campaign, but Shepard is such a weenie in this. OG Shepard was just an ultimate Sigma. Sure, he was willing to allow an airport to get shot up, killed ghosts, betrayed 141, but, you know, besides that, he's a Sigma. After Shepard somehow gets captured, and no one else does, I guess, which isn't explained, but after he gets captured, 141 tells him, "You tried to kill us, and gave chemical warheads to Urzikstan. You gotta show everybody what you did." He says, okay. They said they would have killed him, but I don't believe they would have because they still needed him to be outed. And even if they did kill him, OG Shepard would have just been like, leave me here. I'd rather freeze to death or get shot like a dog than bend to you. The ruthless determinism and just absolute ability to not give a hoot as long as he wins is what makes him a great villain. And clearly, ChatGPT did not understand this, nor did the writers for MW2. He's essentially a bureaucrat in this. He's not a hardcore soldier/general. I mean, he's such a weenie hut general, they killed him in a post-credit scene. How embarrassing. One of the best COD villains and one of the most iconic video game villains of all time, brought back as a soy boy weakling bureaucrat that exposes himself in front of Congress and played he said, she said with his supposed loyal hound Graves. And then on top of that, gets killed in a post-credit scene. It's beyond embarrassing. And again, no offense to the actor. He's great. He's just not it for this role. Sorry, sometimes people just don't fit a role and it has nothing to do with their acting abilities or talent. Like I said, he's great, but whenever I hear him, I hear Overlord. He just doesn't fit Shepard. Then the other big death in the campaign was a giant wet fart as well. Soap is killed in the last few minutes of the campaign, and as I said before, he got Jesse. They hit my man with the old Abby's 9mm to the face. Now, to be honest, I never expected to see that again, but gosh darn did they get me with that. I guess they saw that nobody liked that in Last of Us Part 2, and they said, hell, let's do that for one of the most iconic video game characters. Besides how they did it, which was so disrespectful. It doesn't even make any sense in terms of the story. I actually think having some stakes with someone from 141 dying at some point, or have them fail a mission for once, would have actually been really nice. It would have made actual repercussions for something. But the writers essentially rely on the fact that you already know Soap, so you should have an emotional connection to him. Because this isn't the OG Soap. The original Soap was the main character besides Price in all of the Modern Warfare games. We get to know Price and 141 through Soap and COD 4. Then we see him be Price's best guy in MW2. Then we see Price's brother die in front of him. It's a full arc and a full story. Soap was introduced in MW2, had a decent amount of scenes. He was treated like we already knew him, because we do. And he kind of just felt like another member of 141. Not Price's brother or number one guy. If anything, he's more Ghosts. He's not the same character that he was in the original. If there's anybody like that, it would be Gaz, because he is how we get introduced to Price in the new reboot. He is essentially the Soap of the MW reboots. But no, they said, well, he died in Modern Warfare 3 before, so screw it, let's just kill him in this one. And we also forgot to have anything happen in the campaign, so boom, Soap died, whatever. Hopefully we can get some people on TikTok with 0 brain cells who just consume and consume. That'll make a sad edit about him, and that'll be enough. Besides all that trash, though, you also just have a bunch of continuity stuff, like how 141 doesn't know that Graves is still alive when it was revealed in Season 5 that he was back and everybody knew, or how Verdansk, as far as I'm aware, shouldn't have people in it now, or in 2019, because it was an active war zone, that, if I'm not mistaken, was also almost nuked at the end of MW 2019. Then there's also, why in the absolute heck did Price not kill Makarov? He had no reason not to. He was a threat and the leader of a terrorist ultra-nationalist organization, and he just decided, I'll put him in the gulag, no chance of him coming back. Nobody ever escapes jail, especially not the leader of a zealot-like ultra-nationalist cult. Then there's the fact that we go back to Adamgrad after the raid, where it's apparently filled back up with Russians again. I guess we just went in there, killed everybody and Hadir, and said, alright, see ya. If I'm gonna be real, I don't think ChatGPT played a lot of Modern Warfare 2. Anyway, to end this long rant about a dumbass COD campaign, which I should not be thinking this deeply about, all I have to say is, do better, guys. Or go the Black Ops 4 route, because they genuinely had a better campaign. But what do you guys think? You think it was a load of barnacles? Or do you for some reason think it was good? If you did for some reason think it was good, I won't hate you. I would like to know why you thought it was good, though. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.